You know, the latex and the leather, you know, it's really surreal when someone's like covering you in lube at 7 in the morning. You haven't even had your coffee yet. It just feels totally surreal.
Okay, guys, get your mind out of the gutter. That was Zoey Kravitz from last night's special screening in London of The Batman, talking about the cat suit that she wears in the brand new movie, The Batman. She was there looking absolutely incredible with her co-star, the man himself, Robert Pattinson, oversized suit. Just look at him. While you guys admire them, I just want to remind you, this is Flip Your Wig. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss a video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe and welcome along to the community. Right, before we hear from the cast and crew, let me tell you a little bit about this new version of the Batman.
Bruce Wayne.
Batman ventures into Gotham City's underworld when a sadistic killer leaves behind a trail of cryptic clues. As the evidence begins to lead closer to home and the scale of the killer's plans become clear, he must forge new relationships, unmask the bad guy, and bring justice to the abuse of power and corruption. Matt Reeves took on the challenge to tell this brand new story for the big screen.
I think, you know, on the one hand, it is like the movies that you've seen in that we're delivering the things you expect, right? You've got to have like the spectacle of a great Batmobile chase. You've got to have the spectacle of all of, so Batman has to be able to fight. That's critical. But what we tried to do was, it is leaning into the world's greatest detective aspect of the film, and so that allows the movie to be very psychological. And so in certain ways, it's a psychological horror movie, it's a thriller, it's a serial killer movie, and it's also kind of a grand love story. And it's really, you know, it's this early years Batman. You get to see him go through an experience that's very emotional too. So I feel like the movie has so much that's different, and I'm excited for people to see it.
Guys, it's out on the 4th of March. Will you be going? Are you excited? Nervous? Let me know in the comment section below. Jeffrey Wright takes on the role for detective, who's also sort of Batman's Robin in this film.
Rob's a wonderful actor. His Batman is a Batman for today. There's complexity, strength, but also in his Bruce Wayne, conflicted emotions and a vulnerability that justifies putting on the cape and cowl. It's really, really exciting. People are going to have their minds blown by what Rob did with this, and I think by what Matt Reeves did. It's good stuff.
For Robert Pattinson, this is huge. He's spent the last decade doing indie films up till Tenet recently, and almost protecting himself from the mainstream media, blockbusters, and too much attention on his work. And I think that was definitely a conscious decision on his part. So of course, nerves are in full effect.
It's weird. It's only just starting to feel a little bit real now. I'm like, wait, hold on a second. I'm terrified. I mean, this is the first time we've got a non-friends and family audience seeing it, and so yeah, I'm still terrified. I've been terrified for years.
Joining Robert on screen as his enemy is Paul Dano, who is dark, traumatized, and looking for his own justice.
Batman is the coolest. I think it's been in our culture for 80 plus years now for a reason. It's been reinterpreted in so many amazing ways and continues to be. But Matt Reeves' script was just powerful, surprising, and I feel very fortunate that I got the call.
I can tell you Zoey Kravitz playing a young Selena becoming Catwoman is captivating to watch. Every movement and moment on screen is just mesmerizing.
I mean, I do identify with cats. People have obviously been asking me if I'm a cat person, and the thing is, I'm a dog person because they're easier to deal with, but I do identify as a cat in terms of my personality. You just never know what they're thinking. They want what they want when they want it, you know? They're their own people.
The famous Batsuit is just as important as Bruce Wayne himself. We've had George Clooney, we've had Val Kilmer, Ben Affleck, and my personal favourite, Christian Bale. They've all rocked their own versions, but what was it like for Pattinson to get into that suit?
I mean, you first put it on and you're like, it's so well designed, the suit, and I tried it on piece by piece, like over about a month, and when the final thing was there, I mean, you just end up you immediately want to like start punching the mirror you're looking at and stuff. It feels 100 times tougher.
One of our favourite Brits, Andy Serkis, plays Alfred. He's the tough, loving butler to Bruce Wayne. Over 5 years ago, Matt Reeves, whilst they were working on the Planet of the Apes movie, had spoken to him about coming on board and being a part of this story. In this film, Andy spends most of his time on screen with just Robert Pattinson.
Well, what Matt has written and what Rob plays is this searching self kind of. He's throwing everything. It's the early stages of discovering what Batman is, and kind of almost kicking back at the privilege, kicking back at the life that he's had, realizing that society is there is such a high level of inequality in society, and what he can do to combat that, So it's a very accurate. I mean, the Gothams that Matt has created and the Batman that Rob's playing really do speak to our times, a post-truth world where there doesn't seem to be, there's no belief system that we all adhere to. It's very fractured, and that really is exemplified in the way that this film speaks.
It's out in the UK next Friday, and most of the press have been embargoed, which basically means you're not supposed to talk about it till it's almost release date. But last night was the first ever public screening / press screening in the UK for fans and also for the press, and I feel like people are going to share their views on Twitter, and I think Rob has spent a night on Twitter just like keeping his fingers crossed, hoping that nobody hates his version.
I'm going to be spending a long night on Twitter. A long, terrifying night. But no, I'm so proud of the movie, and I think it's so fun, and it feels really unique and different, and I really hope people like it.
The other question that a lot of fans have is, will there be a second one? Will we get to see Robert Pattinson playing the Batman once again? Well, I think Matt Reeves is down.
You don't make number one as if there's going to be number two. You have to make number one as if you are swinging for the fences, and it has to be a movie that stands and lives on its own. But I really believe in what we've done, and I'd be excited to tell more stories. And we are already telling other stories in the streaming space. We're doing stuff on HBO Max. We're doing a Penguin show with Colin, which is going to be super cool. And we're working some other stuff too. But we have started talking about another movie. But right now we'll just put it out in the world. I'll try to enjoy this.
Okay, so it's a good likelihood we're going to get a second one. Robert Pattinson wants to do it. Matt Reeves is definitely down, and I think the whole cast, we're just so excited. I hope we get a sort of origin story more on Selena, Catwoman with Zoey Kravitz, because I think she's wonderful in this. Also looking forward to the spin-off series starring Colin Farrell as the Penguin, which, by the way, is absolutely incredible in this movie. Colin Farrell is this Irish actor, very good looking, a lot of people adore him. He's completely transformed himself, but it works so wonderfully. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, funny, sharp, and dark all at the same time. So I'm looking forward to seeing a version of the Penguin coming out, also potentially a series rather than a film. Guys, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll be back soon with more videos. Have a good day. Bye.